Hello and welcome to this Your PMO training video. This is session 4 and here we're going to be looking at project controls. So before we start actually looking at project controls, we want to just think a bit about structuring our system and how many projects we've got and how we group them together. So we're going to put in place a portfolio because part of the controls allows us to analyze not just the materials within one project but within a collection of projects. So we need to set up our collection. So let's come to the menu and manage portfolios. I'm going to give mine a new one. I'm just going to call it testing, like that. It's automatically, I've got access to it. That's all we need on your PMO. We can choose which projects we're going to put inside it. So I'm going to put a couple. I'm going to put this one in. I'm also going to add a new one as well. So I'm going to add my project to that portfolio like that. And now when I come back to select project, I can see I've got two choices, all projects or testing, and testing now just has this one project in it. But now we're going to go off actually and add another project as well. Create project. I'm going to call this my agile project, and into that I'm going to put one of our practical scrum projects like that. And here when I'm creating the project this time I can choose to include it in that portfolio like that. So there we go. That's going to have been done now, and when I come back to here, if I look in all projects, I've got 3 projects. If I go into testing portfolio, see selected here, and then my particular project, Malk's project like that, I've then got that double connection. I'm in a portfolio and the project, rather than all projects, which isn't really a portfolio, it's just a list of all your projects. So we can sort out these different groupings for grouping together our projects, and like I say, that's helpful for analysis. So we're going to come over here to live review. I'm going to look at plans and tasks, and firstly it's showing me project tasks. So from the database it's got all the tasks for this current project from whichever plan or plans they've been loaded in from. In this case it's just the default planner file like that. I can see that list and or the Gantt chart for it, and I can see the list below, and if I want to drill in on a particular task, find out something more about it, I can find it in here and click in and get the full detail for it like that. Nice and easy. Now we don't just have to look at project tasks, so this is a pick list. We could also be looking at portfolio tasks. That's because we're in a portfolio. If we weren't in a portfolio, it wouldn't be showing us the portfolio tasks option. When I reload this view, now we see the same thing we saw earlier. That's the one we just looked at a minute ago, but this is the material from that second project. This is from the Agile project. It's the material about our launch and the first sprint. So we've got 2 lots of plan material here. We've not got to get up 2 plans and merge them together in some way. The system is showing us everything from the database for this portfolio. You can, what looks like gluing together many plans from many projects into one space, and here you can then do some interesting things with them. So clearly these are 2 separate project plans, but it might be that they're interconnected, and it might be that they're overlapping. So we can use what we call a view here. So we've got a pair of controls. This is what we call the data range, portfolio tasks. This is the view, and it allows me to do some sort of analysis. So I could go and look at, for example, milestones and summaries only. So it's not going to give me the detailed tasks, just the sort of overview of the structure. And you'll see it's changed the columns that we're seeing as well as the display in the chart area. I could go and look at overdue tasks, and it'll find just the list of overdue tasks. So we're not showing summaries this time. We're seeing all that material in its place. So this is giving me 2 simple controls that allow me to juggle what it is that I'm seeing, to do some analysis against the materials, and to get that range of data back, which can easily be glued together from multiple plans. Like I say, it can come from planner files, from Microsoft project files, from Excel files, even if they're in the correct format, all glued here together in the same way. In the next video we're going to look at putting a Microsoft project file in as well as editing this, and we'll see some of those changes come through. But for now we're just going to go and have a look at some of the other controls. So that same data of tasks in the database feeds a resource analysis. So this is the resource analysis for this project. It's picked up 2 people on it, the default project manager and business analyst. It's in months, so that's not fantastically helpful. The default is a month, it's a good place to start. That's the daily analysis instead, which is perhaps a bit more interestingly detailed when it comes down to actually what's happening. And of course I can do this at the project and portfolio level, so let's just bring that back up to months. And then I'm going to do portfolio again, like that. And now we can see we've got those 2 blocks that sort of match up against the 2 different plans that we had. And we can see we've got a few other people involved now, Scrum Masters and product owners, etc., who are coming in obviously from the other plan. And we can see that which people are working on which of these plans in each space there. And sometimes you'll find a person is working on multiple plans. So project manager might be working on Malk's project and my Agile project sometimes, in which case you'd see 2 rows and it'd give you a total for that person across the multiple projects. So it's really useful at pulling all that sort of stuff together. And in the same way you can use the views here, not quite as powerful because generally you're interested in all the resource information. But those 2 same controls are demonstrated here, and you get a sort of bit of filtering here. You can change the date ranges and things like like I say, daily analysis instead. Then we'll come back and look at the other 2, risks and issues. These 2 are pretty much the same, slightly different analysis and slightly different layout of tables because the content's a bit different, but broadly they have the same idea again, data range and view. So I'm going to put it up to portfolio, and we'll now find we've got 2 other type items rather than the one we had in the project, and I can see some analysis for all of that here and my 2 particular items at the bottom. And if our risks have got responses, then we'll see responses in the space at the bottom too. So this is just giving me a really quick and easy way to get to that latest information. I can do my analysis against this. So like I say, the analyses will be different because the data is different, but it's exactly the same idea. So we can look for high priority things or high probability or things ordered by value, etc., etc. Issues are very similar to that as well. So this is about getting straight to that latest data. Now, all the things we've looked at so far are showing me the latest information. It's the latest data on plans and risks and issues that we're holding in the database as loaded out of the latest files. But we have another thing, which is trend analysis. So if I come to menu and trend analysis, it's going to be a little bit simplistic here because these projects have just been created, so they haven't actually built up a history yet. But over time, this trend analysis will create a data feed for you, which shows how the information has changed over time. So again, we have the same sort of idea: data range, project or portfolio, and view, which is a type of analysis. But this isn't just this changes the type of data built into that analysis is the type of data. So if I look at risk and issue stats like that, this is getting information for the number of risks and issues and the number of open risks and issues for this project, and that's 1. All the data points are at the same place actually. If we went in and started changing our registers and then look at that over a period of time, we would see the February data might well always stay at 1, but the March data that comes up next might be a few items up, and the April and May and June, and it will gradually change over time, and it'll store all those changing points as you go along. And that's collecting data for all the different types of properties, the automatic statistics. It'll even collect things like commentaries and commentary changes that you're creating as well, and you can look back through these things. Here in the browser, you can just use standard analyses, standard things that are pre-coded. You can create your own extra analyses using the Windows app and save those to your list, and they will then appear in this list here. And that's the same actually for the view list on all of these different display analysis type windows. Okay, so that was session 4, looking at the outputs of the controls. In session 5, we're going to look at editing a planner file live in the browser and adding a new controls file like a Microsoft project plan to our project as well. Okay, thank you.